Hey everybody, it's Greg and Zach here.
Hey!
We just wanted to give you a quick heads up that because the holidays are coming up, we are going to be briefly switching over to a bi-weekly schedule. It's just going to make things a little bit easier on us, but it is also going to give us some time to be working on cool new stuff.
Yeah, we're going to be going to every other week so that we can spend some more time relaunching Ship's Theater, because the response we got to The Shape of Sewer Water, our test episode for like a narrative-based thing out of the stories we've created, went so well.
Yeah, you guys have been really supportive and really cool. I joke with Zach that we have the best fans, but we really do. It's super cool.
At least we have the weirdest fans, for sure. And I say that with all of the love in the world.
They can be weirdest and best, two things.
Yeah, exactly. But so stick around. We're going to have more announcements towards the end of the year about what that's going to look like. Until then, here is this week's episode of Ships in the Night. From the darkest corners of Tumblr comes a podcast where we take two of your favorite fictional characters, get them together, and ask, do we ship it? Hey guys, welcome back to Ships in the Night. I'm Zach Wilson.
And I'm Greg Goodness, proud new member of the Disney Plus family. That's right, this podcast officially sanctioned and endorsed by the good people of the Disney Corporation.
Our lawyers want to clarify that we are in no way associated with Walt Disney or corporations or enterprises or Disney Plus or any reasonable organization, I would say.
Anything that has the power to sue us, we are in no way affiliated with.
I have learned way more about Disney in the last week than I ever thought possible. But you know who I want to learn more about? Our guest for today. I want to welcome a wonderful comedian and was the voice of Hermione Granger in our Ship's Theater, The Shape of Sewer Water. It's Elizabeth Hayhurst.
Hey.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's first dissect one that we got over email. This is The Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz and Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter, or He Who Must Not Be Named if you're of that particular preference.
Listen, man, it's been a long weekend. I am not going to take the time to say He Who Must Not Be Named. I'm like Harry Potter at the end of book 2, is it? Where he's like, just say the name, everybody. Just do it. We're giving him power by not saying his full name. Voldemort. Voldemort. That's who he is.
Or if you're listening to the audio productions of the first word, Voldemort.
Voldemort. Yes, the French version. I dig this. I get it. I see the through line and the connective tissue.
Oh yeah, you've got two magic users who are just like evil incarnate for their respective world. One a lot more clean and cartoony than the other.
Right.
But can they make magic together? I'm sorry.
No, it's a valid question. I do think that, like, at least we've seen in Wicked, the Broadway musical.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, that like someone out there, I'm sure, will make the argument of like, is the Wicked Witch of the West really the bad one here? But I'm sure there are certain like poor sections of Tumblr and Reddit that are like, is Voldemort really the bad guy?
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe we can get those two subsects of people together.
Yeah, we need that book adaptation.
Well, that's what we're here to figure out, is what these two are like together. Are they going to be compatible, or is there... Like, look, Voldemort is evil. He's a bad guy. The Wicked Witch of the West, maybe a little less so. They both want to murder a child.
Yes.
So they have that in common.
I will say, if we are going to take this into account, the whole Wicked musical thing, I think there is maybe a universe in which Voldemort is like, listen, I think you've done some really impressive PR moves on your behalf. I would love to get coffee and maybe figure out how to launch Voldy, the Broadway musical that tells my side of the story.
Oh my god.
Have either of you guys read the Wicked novel that it was
No.
based on? It's actually like really, really good and interesting, and the musical is like a much shortened version of it, and they go into all these worlds and her sexuality and growing up and like how everything was weird for her. Like there's like some intense sex scenes in that book.
So I think that's where it really comes in, is that like Voldemort is sort of, after being defeated by Harry Potter, he's like,
Yeah.
I've got to re-examine myself. And he goes on some like adventure into other worlds and finds himself
Right.
in the land of Oz. And that's where he meets. When do you guys think they meet? Is it the young Wicked Witch of the West, or is this like old? Are they meeting like after they've both been defeated by the respective children?
I mean, it'd have to. I'd hope so, because like in the beginning of the book and musical, she's very young, and he seems like he's always very old, or unless we're going like pre-Harry Potter. Like if they had a relationship pre-Harry Potter,
Like when it was Tom Riddle.
right, when he was still like,
Oh,
you know,
there is something about
right,
that actually.
before he went full evil.
You know what? That's kind of like a sexy fanfic that I think we might
Right.
need to lean into.
Right. So like
Tom
there-
Riddle and young Wicked Witch of the West.
That is pretty tempting.
Yeah.
The Wicked Witch of the West is carrying around this book, Wicked. It's like, this is loosely based on my life. And Tom Riddle is like, these are my journal entries. They meet up at a writer's group. Like, it's just like a shitty coffee shop with lots of open internet connections and wall outlets
They're
in
both-
Oz.
Like we always have the classic like two hands going for the same thing. They both go to plug in their laptops into the same outlet.
Oh, shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Their power cords bump.
These are two self-obsessed hipsters
Right.
careening around in the land of Oz, being like, I have an important story to tell.
They
The
both-
people at Bustle are gonna really eat this up.
They both believe the world is against them.
Yeah.
It totally fits. All right, so these two get to talking.
Right.
They both like, it comes out that they both know magic. Do they just like start? Do they just go out that night? Are these two like just talk? Do they close down the coffee shop?
Oh, for sure, yeah. But I think it's a much more antagonistic thing
Yeah.
to start. Because they're both so self-obsessed.
Right.
Each of them would get a copy of the other's manuscript and be like, I have notes. You know? Like, I think that this really drags in the third act. And they would absolutely be at each other's throats trying to make that happen.
Well, I mean, the Wicked Witch of the West has like more of this thing where she like stood for like a group, and I haven't read it in a while, but she like stood for a group of people and then switched because she felt like that whole group of people was marginalized, and then took it too far. So she kind of has some moral compass that kind of got messed up. And he kind of seems like from the beginning, he was always like, I'm going to rule everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that seems like that could be a source of conflict.
Does she maybe see him as the solution to those problems? Like this is like she's become frustrated with the
Yeah,
system.
yeah.
And that's why, look, there's a real life scenario in there where it's like, man, I've tried everything to fix the
Right.
system. This guy who wants to topple it, and even if he maybe is going to go a little too far, that seems like the way to go now.
Right. Where they like join the Death Eaters and Flying Monkeys. It's like one army.
Oh my God.
Listen, if we combine our forces, we can really canvas the like districts of this magical realm and really enact some positive change.
Now, I guess so. So these two start dating. That's how this is. We've already solved the meet cute.
Yeah.
But how does this relationship go? Like, obviously, it's a working relationship because they're fighting for a cause. This is like a political revolution.
Right.
They got a non-profit office that they've
Yeah.
rented out. Yeah, I would argue that Elizabeth, in the case that you just laid out here, I think it does lend itself to sort of like all right, so she is she sees something in Voldemort.
Yeah.
That is like, oh, this is the sort of like self-asserting, like self-confident person that I wish I could be.
Yeah,
Like,
he's like a leader.
yeah, and like granted, super on the wrong side
Right.
of history, but maybe she like takes a little while to figure that out. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, he wrote an entire book. Like that's really, he's taking charge. His diary, which he is now trying to like pen off as a manuscript.
He doesn't apologize for who he is.
Yeah.
He's really proud of it. They're like, there's no words in this. Like, no, you have to like really read it, and then you become a part of it. This is his new recruiting method.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, man, he sent it off to Vice Media and is having meetings over there. Like, it's really exciting. So, yeah, I think that would probably be the connecting thread between them. Is that it does start as, like, a late night at the office where they're both, like, fighting furiously over what sort of copy should be included in their latest one-pager or their zine that they're putting together. And he is just not relenting in it. And so, like, finally, it's just like, all right, all this tension, all this fighting, much like a tornado coming through and ripping up everything around them, their hormones just entwine them.
Yeah, this seems very college freshman relationship.
Oh, it so is!
Oh yeah, and it probably I imagine young Tom Riddle like had some attraction to people. Like Voldemort is like pretty asexual, I think, at that point. But young Tom Riddle, he's figuring out who he is. And maybe he's into the green, you know?
Yeah, his testosterone levels are still pretty high. He's like 18, 19.
So here's a question. Does this soften either or both of them? Because they both go down pretty dark paths. One, I think, more than the other, but again, both aiming for child murder.
Right.
Does this sort of pull them away from that destiny? Or are they inevitably going to wind up going for the same evil?
Oh man, I cannot stop latching on to the freshman analogy that you made. And to me, this is like two freshmen in the young college Republicans.
Right.
Oh no.
Which, like, listen, I try to respect all political ideologies and everything like that, but I feel like the Wicked Witch of the West is like a true fiscal conservative.
Yes. Yeah, she's like, people can do their own thing, just don't mess up my thing. And then at some point, he's like, well, maybe they should also die.
Yeah, the Wicked Witch of the West is like a libertarian going into college. And fucking Voldemort is just a proud boy through and through.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, that's what it is.
I mean, you're not wrong. Look, the Death Eaters are wizard Nazis. They are literally fighting for the purity of the race.
Yeah, and like, oh God, it really does kind of suck. I do see a world, though, in at least we can give the Wicked Witch of the West this, is that she is gonna figure out Voldemort's bullshit, like, super quick. This is a messy, gross relationship where, like, they have terrible sex in their dorm room for, like, 3 months.
But is the Wicked Witch of the West really against Voldemort's aims? Because what he's aiming for is like a society where all of the magic people take over the world and run everything. Would she be against that?
I think she wanted like separation. Is like her, like she didn't want Dorothy there because she murdered her sister accidentally. So not murdered, but like she wanted, I think she like wanted everyone kind of respected, and when they weren't getting respect, she was like, everyone has to be separated and stay out of my space.
She was a proponent of strong borders.
I think perhaps. Yeah.
I think these two, I mean, look, they're definitely, they have similar goals. I think these two might work really well together. Like, I don't want them to at the end of the day, because they're both, it's one of those cases where it's not going to be good for everyone else outside the couple.
I think it would work and then have a really strong like time limit on how long it works. I think there would be a very messy breakup at some point that would be inevitable.
Do you think it's like a power struggle kind of thing? Because Voldemort's not gonna like he
Yeah.
might be willing to have like a second in command up there, but he never gave
Yeah.
Bellatrix that chance, and she was fully devoted to him. A Witch of the West, he might be like your second always.
Right. I think there'd just be something at some point where she supported a group and he's like, that group's stupid. Or just that group should be put to death and she freaks out or something.
He just goes around because he kills pretty willy nilly. Maybe she's
Right.
like, you're going a little. He goes a little too far.
Right.
She's like, I'm all for the separation of the peoples,
Yeah.
but like you are a crazy man.
Yeah, and I also highly doubt like anyone from the world of Oz would pass his purity test, you know, if he went full. Like, so eventually that would come up.
Yeah, she joins a sorority, and he's like, Greek life is the death of this campus. She's like, calm down, Voldemort. Like, listen, I'm allowed to have outside interests.
Now does she?
Stop being mean to my friend.
Now does she just leave him, or does one of them? Does this end in like a duel? Do these two end up like battling to the death kind of thing?
I do like imagining the Wicked Witch of the West just absolutely kicking Voldemort's ass. Like,
I like imagining it, but at the same time, Voldemort just picks up his wand and he's like aguamenti and just like water.
yeah, but that's like the end of Voldemort's life. Like, he's become a powerful wizard. I think that's probably, listen, this is why Voldemort goes full on red pill, is that like he breaks up with his college
Right.
girlfriend who kicks his ass in front of the entire Young Republicans club.
With flying monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. It is like, yeah, forcibly removes him from the group with the
Right.
flying monkeys.
Yeah, there's like he takes out a bunch of the flying monkeys.
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's heaps of dead monkeys, but
which is a
ultimately
cost she's willing to pay.
but is ultimately what he does fall.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so that's what sets him down this truly, truly dark path. And also what makes the Wicked Witch of the West be like, listen, I can't have no man in my life. I can't have anybody else. I got to be strong and self-reliant because when I let people in, they hurt me.
Right.
You know what? This even fits in the Harry Potter timeline because
Yeah.
there's like there's this point in Voldemort's life in like his like 20s or so where he just disappears. Dumbledore's like, I don't know where he went that
Wow.
time. He was just off making Horcruxes and breaking his soul into pieces. That's what it was. It was like he's just like, I'm not even gonna keep my soul together if love isn't real, and he just starts killing people and breaking his soul up.
He spent freshman year at Oz University and then transferred his last 3 years to, what is it, Liberty U? And that's where he became the powerful wizard that we all fear today.
Oh man. Well, okay, so we got to ask at
Right.
this point. We've seen how this starts and ends. Do we ship it?
As much as I hate both of these characters, it just fits into the timeline too well. It makes so much sense for how they became the people that they are. Yes, I ship it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Elizabeth, what do you think?
Yeah, same. Yeah, it makes too much sense. One thing I'll add, just from the book, a specific I do remember, because she can't have water touch her, as we remember from the film and everything. She only cleans herself with oil. So that's like a interesting sex thing. She can't have any water-based lubricant or substance. It's
Snake
God.
oil. It's all snake oil.
Yeah. But
Like
yeah.
literal snake oil. That's what they use for lube.
Voldemort kills a unicorn and drains all the blood and is like, I thought this might work.
Oh my god.
Let's have sexy times with this. And she's like, you're not getting this at all.
That's not men.
You men and their unicorn blood orgies.
Yeah.
When will they learn? When will we learn? Not today. But we'll find out more after we come back from this quick break. Stick around. And we're back, and it's time for our second ship, and this one comes to us courtesy of our friend Harrison Pettit, who sent us so many of these ships at this point.
Super fan, Harrison Pettit. Thank you very
former
much.
guest. All right, this one we got two mice that we gotta ship together. I'm talking about Stuart Little and Charles Entertainment Cheese, Chuck E. Cheese. I think we got to figure out what to do with Chuck E. Cheese because he's had a rough week. They just said that his band is being fired from all of the Chuck E. Cheeses across the nation.
Truly devastating. This is an actual thing. They're dismantling all of the animatronics.
What was the reason?
Because it's animatronic, creepy ass bands. It inspired a video game that's all about horror.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just
they've been creepy forever.
They're revamping like all of the Chuck E. Cheeses, and that's one of the changes. They're like, no more tokens. Now you got cards, and the bands are gone. So Chuck E. Cheese is like, all of his friends are gone. So we gotta find him some love.
So are they doing anything with it, or?
I don't know.
Yeah, no one knows.
Maybe you can go buy them from your local Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, they're repurposing them for a haunted horror house. Charles Entertainment Chuck E. Cheese. It's a nice little like crossover. No. Point being, we got to figure out what to do with these two mice, mouse and a rat. I'm not entirely sure.
I believe they're actually. I think Chuck E. Cheese is a rat technically.
Well,
two rodents.
Yeah. They changed it, right? Like he was supposed to be a rat, and then they made him a mouse, or is he?
Which, by the way, terrible idea if you're running an eatery to make your central character a rat. Because once I heard that, I was like, oh, the like food and safety codes over at Chuck E. Cheese make a whole lot more sense now.
You know, he has those big ears. I'm pretty sure he's a mouse.
Yeah.
Either way, two rodents. What do we think?
I gotta be honest, like, okay, Stuart Little is very upper middle class, like urban socialite. Charles Entertainment Cheese seems like kind of a scam artist. Like he's tricking children into giving him tokens for shitty pizza. It's weird.
So did you guys? I looked up. I guess there was a children's book about his origin story.
Is there really?
Yeah.
I only knew like the real history of like the
shortly
franchise.
Before I came up, and the origin story apparently is he was found in the restaurant, and it's just this one book, but it was made by Chuck E. Cheese, so I guess it's canon.
Yep.
He was living in a pizza restaurant, and the owner found him and was going to kill him because you don't have mice in the pizza restaurant. And then at one point he heard him singing happy birthday, and so he's from an orphanage. and the only reason he loved other kids' birthdays because he never knew his own. So he loved singing the song Happy Birthday. And then the pizza guy's like, okay, I won't kill you if you sing to all the children. And then he got on stage and he didn't know any songs and they were booing him. And then he started singing Happy Birthday because it's the only song he knew. And then everyone cheered. And then the restaurant owner was like, great, you've got a job. You work for me now.
This is the most fucking twisted, dark universe version of Ratatouille I have ever heard. Are you out of your fucking gourd?
Yeah.
It is a rat in a restaurant that they let stay because it's like, okay, sing and I won't kill you.
Yes. And then they got him a band.
This is horrifying in a whole other level, but it also is like they're both. It means they're both orphans.
They have something in common.
There is definitely. These two have a lot in common. They might just hit it off in like a. Okay, I think it's Stuart Little's birthday.
Yeah.
And like as a classic like upper middle class family, they book out the Chuck E. Cheese for all Stuart's friends to go play arcade games for the day.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like Stuart's like, I've never met another mouse like me.
Oh God, that is okay. Does he see him as a friend, or is he like Papa? It definitely has to be a friend.
Yeah.
I do see that happening of like, okay, Charles Entertainment Cheese comes out right into the restaurant and is like, "Hey kids, it's whose birthday is it?" "It's me, sir. I'm Stuart Little." And like he kind of like braces because like a mouse in a restaurant having a birthday, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, well, what is the date of your birth?" And then fucking Stuart Little is like, "I don't actually know because I'm an orphan." And Charles Entertainment Cheese just has an emotional breakdown on stage, like Vietnam flashback to when this chef was trying to kill him. He's like, "Sing or you die!"
So at that point, is it like that thing where you cut to the end of the night and they're just like they've like had the whole life dump of their like experience up till now?
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like this is very like almost Call Me by Your Name. Like they have like so much in common. They didn't know there was like another person like them. One's like lower class, one's super upper class, totally by chance. Their names are Stuart and Charles, which I feel like you couldn't be invited to someone's dinner party. It's just like, yeah, Stuart and Charles are having a dinner party. That just sounds right.
I do like this, that this starts, okay, this is like a childhood, like they meet in childhood. But I think that maybe this is super early in the Chuck E. Cheese story.
Yeah.
Because Stuart Little obviously comes from money, right? So as the years progress and maybe like Charles Entertainment Cheese's restaurant isn't going so hot, I think that like post-college they hook up again and it's like, "Hey, your restaurant isn't doing so hot. Why don't I inject a little bit of capital furniture into this and we rebrand? We're gonna make you the smoothest, coolest, hip-hoppinest Charles Entertainment Cheese that there could possibly be."
This is when he becomes Skater Boy Chuck E.
Yeah,
Cheese.
exactly.
In the
This
90s
is the
rebrand.
rebranding.
This was all Little Money.
And and over the course of this, like, it's, again, sort of like our first couple, late nights at the office, they're redesigning everything. And then, all of a sudden, just like a little smooch. So through this working relationship, I think, yeah, we do get to the, like, upper middle class sort of Charles and Stuart dinner party that you were talking about.
Yeah.
I like that very, very much.
Now, does Chuck E. Cheese, I was like, I got through Chucky and I was like, oh, no, that's his middle name.
Yeah.
Does he have trouble fitting in at this like high class, like higher society dinner party?
Oh, probably. I bet he does at first. And I bet they go to a really nice couples therapist about it and work through their issues.
It's like a thing where he's just like slurping soda like, through the straw. Like, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. and Mrs. Little? Like, you having a good time?"
Oh, no.
Stuart's just like, "Oh my God."
Chuck, the skater persona is something that we developed through market focusing. It's not something that you should do in real life.
This is what I am now, man. You made me this way. You can't get mad after you make me like this.
Yeah, and an extremely white, extremely expensive therapist who's just like, yeah. Tell him how you feel.
Now, Stuart, I think you have to take responsibility for your part in creating this persona for Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I guess the question at that point is, do these two, how is their relationship going? Are they dealing with this, or are these two just like in different worlds? I mean, you've literally got a guy running an arcade.
Yeah. I think it'd be like a source of conflict because like it'd always be like that little bit of embarrassment where it's just like he doesn't know how to behave and like upper class society.
Yeah, it's blue collar, white collar.
Yeah. It's that old thing, and then it'd just be like, I think maybe like at their lowest point, like Chuck leaves, he gets mad, and then like he like goes to a place, gets really drunk, hooks up with someone.
He goes and hooks up with Fievel.
He's a wanderer like me. He understands.
He's been out west, Stuart. You've never left the city. Stuart's like, you've been playing the same songs for 5 decades. You have to do something new. I'm trying to. You're holding me back.
Every time we go out, you introduce me as a small business owner. I'm a musician. Yeah,
It used to be
really...
about the music,
Oh,
Stuart.
Jesus.
Now it's just about the franchising. They just hate each other by the end of this.
Yeah.
Stuart's trying to be just like the chill Michael J. Fox mouse that he always was growing up, but he can't anymore.
Yeah.
He can't with Chuck.
There's too much money riding on the line. Money changes everything, baby. Yeah, this is... it's gonna get real bad, but I will venture... I think they have the capability to bring it back from the brink.
Yeah?
I think
Yeah.
so too. I also thought of like the Birdcage with like Robin Williams being like, I'm not your performer. And just all that whole dynamic.
Oh, that's so good because
That's
there is a
beautiful.
literal bird in the band.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, I totally see it. Yeah, it's just it's the birdcage.
Yeah.
It's a birdcage relationship. So these two do you think they make it?
Listen, Chuck E. Cheese, they successfully went through a rebranding phase. Like, granted, we don't know what the future of this company holds, but clearly Chuck was willing to make some changes.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe Stewart has softened around the edges a little bit. Like, you know, he voted for Obama for 2 terms and is kind of a little bit less of a shitty venture capitalist than he used to be. Like, they're both growing incrementally.
And they were both adopted, and I'm sure they both have opinions about what their adoptive parents did wrong and what they would do better.
Yeah.
Do they eventually adopt a child,
Oh,
and
I think
that's
so.
like the thing that kind of brings them back together? Is like maybe they just find a mouse on their doorstep.
Somebody left a kid in the ball pit, and at the end of the night, they're just like, well, this one's ours now.
Yeah, but so they sort of like realize that they put their own stuff aside so that they
Yeah.
can raise this child together, and it brings them a sort of harmony of happiness.
I like that story. It's very cute. It gives both of them like what they need out of life versus what they selfishly think they want.
Yeah.
So we got to ask the question, and Elizabeth, I'm curious your opinion. After all of that, a rocky road to like maybe some happiness at the end,
Right.
do you ship it?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is a lovely story. I think at the end of this movie, of this version of this relationship, you'd feel really good about it. You'd feel like, oh, good job, guys. You did it.
Yeah. Even if it was Stewart who was like, the band's done, dude. You're like 60. You gotta stop.
I feel like at this point he kind of wanted to. He just needed to be told.
Yeah.
He didn't really fight it that
Right.
hard.
Yeah, I dig this. No, I ship it too. Like, listen, Stewart is the reason that they now have cauliflower pizza crust in the restaurant.
Yes, and I'll bet you that when they like resized Chuck E. Cheese a couple years ago and made him like the little mouse, that's their child.
Oh, fuck.
That's it. That's why it's different. It's literally a different mouse.
Yeah.
He just it's Chuck E. Cheese the second.
And nothing is more quintessentially upper middle crust America than forcing your child into a performer role against their will, possibly.
To take over your business that's named after you.
Exactly. It's like they're grooming him for the future of inheriting the Chuck E. Cheese empire.
Oh my god. All right. Greg, do you ship it?
Yeah, I ship it.
I ship it as well. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta go. Look, life has some dark pits that you have to get through, but if you do, you come out better on the other side.
I just really want to attend one of those fucking dinner parties
yeah.
that you're talking
that'll
about.
be great.
Stuart and Charles cordially invite you to the Little House this Sunday at 3 p.m.
Yeah, and you know all the old animatronics are there too, and like cleaned up, you know, like
Yeah.
they've all kicked their heroin habits, and now they're doing way better.
But they usually go out to the backyard a little early to smoke.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Stuart's okay
Right.
with it as long as they don't do it around the kid.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's so perfect. We're going to wrap up this segment, and then we're going to take a quick break and come back with our Matchmaker show. Let's get to it. And we're back, and it's time for the Matchmaker segment. Elizabeth has brought us a single from fiction that we need to use our expert matchmaking skills to find love for. Elizabeth, who have you brought us today?
So I picked a character from my favorite book when I was 2, which is Go Dog Go. And there is a reoccurring plot within that book. There's a female dog and a male dog, and every few pages they come back to them, and the female dog says, "Do you like my hat?" And he says, "No, I do not like your hat."
What an asshole
And then
dog.
she says goodbye, and he says goodbye, and they part ways. And this happens like 4 times until at the end of the book, she has a giant hat, and he likes it, and they drive off into the sunset.
This is like the origin of negging. So weird.
Right.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss invented the mystery method.
So, okay, so we need to find love for the
There's a
hat
Poor
wear, the hat
fucking
loving
dog.
dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
That has this, and it should be mentioned that her hats become increasingly
Yes,
outlandish.
they become
throughout.
more
Okay.
crazy, yeah.
In her desperate
Right.
bid for approval.
All right, I think we have a couple options
Okay.
for you here that we can. So we want to set up some dates, but we want to give you 2 options, and you can pick who you want to set your friend up with.
Okay.
So why don't we get started? Greg, why don't you kick us off with
Yeah.
for this one?
All right. So, female hat-wearing dog in Go Dog Go. Clearly a fashionista. Like, look, for better or worse, this is something that is important to her. It's a part of her life. It's something that defines her and the limited capability that we've seen. We want someone who is able to embrace that, but maybe someone who is also able to help push back a little and say, like, hey, you need to do what's right for you. Form over function and that sort of thing, or function over form, whichever way it goes. That's why I'm bringing in Edna Mode from The Incredibles, the fashion designer who knows a little bit something about making sure that, hey, this isn't just a crazy hat for having a crazy hat. No, you want something that is loud and speaks to you, but also it doesn't matter what other people want. You don't need a cape. You don't need a crazy ass hat to impress some male dog. You just need to do what's right for you.
All right, I see where you're going with Edna Mode. It's a good choice. It's a good choice, but I have another one. I want to set this dog up with the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. Now this is a guy who, right off the bat, obviously understands crazy hats. And not only that, he knows how to put on a party. Because in that book, we see that this dog loves to go to dog parties, whether there's like 3 dogs gathered on a little boat, or it's just like 18 dogs just running around in paper hats having fun. We know that this girl wants to go to a great party and wear crazy hats. So he's gonna be throwing unbirthday parties left and right, bringing in the dog. Like, he's not only gonna like every hat that she puts on, no matter how from plain to crazy with mops in her head, he's gonna love it, and he's gonna respect her for it. He's gonna be like, "Hey, girly, welcome onto my party." It's gonna be a great time. I think she's gonna just enjoy life alongside the Mad Hatter.
It's a good choice. Fuck, it's a really good choice.
That's my terrible Ed Wynn impression.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I also didn't practice it. I was just like, I'm gonna do this now.
I appreciated the effort. Yeah, that's all that really counts on this show. God, I hope that's what counts on this show.
Points for trying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, Elizabeth, we know that this like 1 minute on each is not enough to really give you a decision.
Right.
So, do you have any questions for us to help you make your call?
Yeah. So, with Ms. Mode, I guess What do you think their sort of relationship would be like beyond just style tips? And
That's a valid point to make. Do you have anything for Zach?
yeah, and for Mad Hatter, I guess I know what their partying life would be like, but what would their life be as a couple when they're not having parties? Because we only see him like on, you know, we don't know what he's like at home.
That's fair. All right, Greg, kick us off.
I mean, Edna has a rich life beyond fashion. Like, I can totally see the female dog from Go Dog Go going to, like, charity events and doing that sort of thing, because Edna has the means to support her, right? Like, it's not just about fashion. I think that's your fatal downfall, sir, is that this guy is crazy and is partying all the time. She's gonna need approval from everybody at the party with her hats. And also, he's gonna coat all of them in mercury. He's gonna kill this dog. Which, is that what you want, dog? Are you a dog killer, Zach? You monster?
No dead dogs in Wonderland. All right. So the Mad Hatter, yes, we mainly see him on as well. Like that's how we see both of these characters in their on. But this is a guy, he has a lot of planning to do when he goes to these parties. Like, yes, he throws a lot of them, but that takes a lot of like time and effort. He doesn't just like show up and then hope the party's going well. This is a guy who meticulously plans out his craziness, whether he's picking out different hats or making tea. He's a very carefully planned person. I think he's gonna bring that kind of attention to detail to the relationship with the female dog from Go Dog Go.
Oh boy.
All right.
So, we've given you two options. We want to make sure that we need a better name for this dog. The female dog from Go Dog Go is in a happy place at the end of the day. That's what really matters.
Yes.
So, who do you want to set your friend up on a date with? Edna Mode from The Incredibles or the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland?
So here's the thing. At first, I think Mad Hatter, because you can see her there and you can see all of the friends there and you can see them having a great time. But like as it goes on, I do think Edna Mode offers more security. And Mad Hatter, even though they have this interest in common, in fact, you could say it's like the main establishing thing about both of their characters. He is an insane man. So I think that wouldn't work out as well. So I guess end of the day, I would go with Edna Mode.
Yeah. You gotta go with long term over short. Like the relationship with the Mad Hatter would be like a great beginning that like fades off real quick.
Oh, it's an intense 48 hours with the Mad Hatter. Someone who's desperate for approval, surrounded by crazy people with drugs.
Yes, drugs are involved.
This dog is gonna have a real wild couple of nights.
That's how it starts. It's like she's just like, this fucking guy, like he never respects me or my hats when she meets the Mad Hatter.
Yeah, it's like, hats are great. Come on.
Cocaine?
Yeah. Take this pill. Don't ask what's in it.
But yeah, Edna Mode will bring her in and be like, let me take care of you forever.
Yeah.
I see it. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
If people want to check out what you're doing, the stuff that you're writing and producing and all that, where can they go? Where can you send them?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at Ford Prefix Kid, a nerdy Douglas Adams reference. And I perform a lot at the Pack Theater, and my sketch group is Haymaker, and you can follow the stuff we're doing all the time at Haymaker Comedy on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Awesome. Greg, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on the tweets at Greg Goodness. You can also find me occasionally performing at the Pack Theater in beautiful sunny Hollywood, California. Before we wrap out, I do just want to remind everyone, if you have the time, please rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff. People, whenever you say nice things about the podcast, always makes us feel great. And so we desperately need the ego boost. Please do that.
Please give me a dopamine rush.
Yeah, exactly. That weird digital dopamine rush that can only come home from seeing imaginary stats on a computer go up slightly.
Yeah. I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me at that Zach Wilson. Elizabeth, one more time, thank you so much. Go check out Haymaker because they make hilarious stuff
good.
all the
You guys
time.
do great stuff.
You can follow the podcast itself at ShippingPod on Twitter or Instagram. You be sure to send us what ships you want to see next on the show. We'll be back soon with our next episode. Until then, this has been Ships in the Night, casting off.